He hears voices in his head. They counsel him. They understand. They talk to him. They talk to him. The legend killer, the Viper, the apex predator, Randy Orton, one of the most naturally gifted athletes that has entered the wrestling industry since perhaps Barry Windham, who is also a man that came up in the professional wrestling industry. Randy, truly one of the best of the last 20 years? Maybe? What do you guys think? Let's talk about it. I'm John Rentham with my review, WWE on A&E Biography, WWE Legends on Randy Orton. Yes, a new season of WWE Biography. No, I'm not going to bother reviewing WWE Rivals. Not that I don't appreciate the archival footage, and I like some of the archival footage here, but archival footage will only take you so far. I've said archival footage so many goddamn times, you would think that I have a tape deck right in my head, and there were certain things they left out. Actually, they left out quite a bit, but they were trying to encompass his life before wrestling, the Marine Corps, all that, and his wrestling career, and a lot of talk about his substance abuse issues. There were certain things they left out that I felt that they wouldn't address. I wish they would have, because he kept talking about not being mature enough. We'll get to that. So I do want to say in regards to the upcoming weeks, the Sergeant Slaughter episode next week, because of how much I'm going to have to be working next weekend and AEW Revolution going on at that time, and I will be reviewing that show, I'm probably not going to get to the Sergeant Slaughter episode till Tuesday. And next Tuesday, not this one, but the 5th, is going to be a new season of Dark Side of the Ring. So much stuff to cover. So much stuff to cover. So, let's talk about this. It was kind of funny they had a thing in the beginning, not just about the substance abuse hotline, which I will put in the description, just in case you know help is out there. Whatever you guys are going through, help truly is out there. But there was a warning. Orton's opinions may not reflect those of WWE. Orton's a bit outspoken. So the talking heads, not same as it ever was once in a lifetime, as the days go by, not that talking heads. Orton, obviously, if it wasn't involving Orton, it'd be a bit weird, considering he is still alive, still has his faculties, and is still wrestling. To an extent. I apologize, by the way, if I sound a little bit rough. Allergies are a bitch. We're having constant weather changes. We're going to be getting a winter storm coming in. It's just really weird. Really weird. So, Orton, Batista, Cena with his coiffed hair or queefed hair. Seth Pheasant Rollins, Hulk Hogan. Oh, I will get to a couple gems that he said. Triple H, Edge. And it makes sense that Edge was here. Adam Copeland now in AEW. I was there for his debut. It makes sense because Edge and Orton had good matches. Their Mania 36 match, I understand, is still going on to this very day, but they also teamed up as Rated RKO, which was a pretty creative name. Silly but creative. Cody and Santino. Now, I wonder why Santino was part of this, and then I found out a little bit later. I go, okay, the guy that liked to knock trans people. Look up Santino and trans comments. You'll see what I mean. So, Orton, we cut between, Orton interview pieces, his career retrospective, and also time at home where he's going through old stuff. His wife, Kim, or his new wife, Kim, I don't know what his old wife's name was. I don't care. I hope she's doing all right. With his kids, her kids, and the kid that they have together. I think they have one kid together. If they have two, I apologize for not knowing that. So, Bob Orton Jr. is melting away as we speak. I know he's old, but good goddamn Christ. Maybe that was that hepatitis C that he had. No Mercy, 2005. Didn't tell anybody that he had that. I think it was hepatitis C. So, nothing about Bob Orton Jr. and the territories. To be fair, this isn't a biography on him. Mostly, if they might have mixed in a little bit of the footage, but they mostly told a brief story about him in the WWF. He was always on the road. Brian Gerwitz chimes in. And Hogan was like, I wrestled Bob Orton several times, and I saw his dad, Bob Orton Sr., the Big O. You never saw a goddamn match that he had, Hulk. I will be willing to put that to the fucking test. Bob Orton Sr. was born in 1929, which means that he would have been 40 in 1969. Nice. Hogan, I assume, did watch wrestling, but there is no goddamn way that he ever saw any footage of Bob Orton Sr. Now, maybe he saw it years later when he was just getting into wrestling. I have a very hard time believing that he saw Bob Orton Sr. in his prime, considering Hogan was born in 53. Bob Orton Sr. would have been 20. Okay, whatever. Would have been 24. Or no, 29. No, he's born 26, actually. He's born 29 or 20. He was born pretty early. So if he was born 26, that would have meant that he would have been 43 years old. The whole point is that Bob Orton Sr. was old because he's a senior. Hulk Hogan just flat out lied. Just flat out lied again. Not the most egregious lie, but anyway, Randy didn't get to see his dad much, obviously, being on the road all the time. He did get to go on the road with his dad. We even saw pictures of Randy with Andre. That was kind of cool. Rest in peace, Andre. Hey, boss. I still love the thing about Princess Bride when he was on set and they asked if Andre was ready and they let out this fart that sounds so goddamn loud. Like, I am now, boss. Apparently he was a delight on set. Let's get back to Randy. He didn't think that he would, he didn't know if wrestling was for him. He didn't fit in school. He was awkward. He was picked on. He did excel at amateur wrestling. And he got in the Marine Corps. Some of this stuff has been told on previous documentaries and previous interview pieces, so I'm not going to go over too much of that. But boot camp, it instilled in him how to become a man, but, because he was an 18-year-old kid. But then also, he was, he witnessed a bunch of hazing, including one where somebody was hazed while the guy was contacting his mother on the phone. And doing that's great. That's good stuff to hear. Look, there's fucked up shit I imagine that goes on in the military. I know plenty of friends that have served in the military, still serve in the military as it is. Some are they make their career there. Some are in for 4 to 8 years and get out. But he left. He was seen as abandoning or whatever the term is. He went to the brig. It was supposed to be for a number of days. I think he was there for 38 because he was a good kid. He was dishonorably discharged. And then Edge was talking to Bob Orton Jr. backstage when Bob was around and brought Randy, who hadn't gotten into wrestling yet. And Edge respected the hell out of his dad, was talking to him, talking his ear off. And noted liar Bruce Pritchard, who was the voice of Vince McMahon at this point, because Vince is persona non grata. Vince wasn't in this except for a couple shots. I wonder why. So, OVW footage, in the summer of 2000, he went to Louisville, Kentucky. I believe that's where it was. Batista greeted him. Him and Batista still get along pretty well. And it was nice to hear from Cornette, because he helped work with Randy and OVW and talked about that, yes, Orton had a bad attitude. He had the natural gifts, but no way to put it together. He just didn't kind of stand out. He hadn't put in the work. He was also a kid. I think he was like 19 when he went there. 19 or 20. So, Orton was just there to get his money. There was even footage of that. And then he started to get it. He started to kick it into gear. The class of Orton, Cena, Batista, and Brock. Speaking of somebody who is persona non grata, talk about Brock, who loves piss videos, allegedly. That's something. Certainly something. I don't really get that. Nevertheless, let's talk about Randy, because he has his own shit issues. At least they, showed some OVW footage and talked about, him in the drop kicks, doing the stuff. I remember seeing footage of him hitting a drop kick and doing the backflip, doing a complete backflip to do that. But then he could do that impressively, but didn't want to do that too much, because then if you don't rotate, you land on your head and you get to the point where you won't have the spring in your step. So he's called up right after Mania 18. Debut match against Hardcore Holly on April 25th, 2002. I remember that vividly. Vince McMahon around Stacy Keibler, around a younger woman. Good thing Vince never did that during his life. But he didn't really do much of note on SmackDown. He went to Raw in September of 2002. He wrestled against Christian and tore his labia. I mean his labrum. He could have torn both. I'm not an anatomy expert. His shoulder was fucked. He was worried this was going to stop his spot, but they said, let's develop his character. So he was doing the Randy News Network updates. I believe that's what it was. And this was during the Ruthless Aggression era, right during the hard brand split that they did, where they actually tried to make it feel like a brand split. That was actually pretty good. He was much better as a heel because he was an unlikable douche, as this thing shows. Evolution was formed. Look, it fit. Orton fit. It was originally going to be Mark Jindrak instead of Batista. Thankfully, it was Batista. Nothing against Jindrak. He's made a hell of a career for himself in Mexico. Hits a hell of a dropkick. Pretty good-looking athlete, but he wouldn't have fit in Evolution. I think even he admits that. Randy was grateful for the chance. And then he talks about seeing Ric Flair tip the waitresses, and we know how Rick likes to tip women. Plane Ride from Hell and all that stuff and everything. His attitude is basically his ability was not matched by his attitude. His mentality was just, he was really, really gifted and he was kind of fucking up a lot. I think they skipped over an injury that he suffered in 2003 because I know Batista suffered an injury. And I believe Orton suffered an injury also, like another injury right after coming back. I want to say he did. I could be wrong, but I think... Because I know him and Batista got injured within weeks of each other. Or maybe it was on the same night. But then he started to develop the Legend Killer thing. Because he came back. He was Intercontinental Champion. And was excelling. He RKO'd Moolah. Fuck the fabulous Moolah. I'm glad she's dead. Piece of shit. No, he can't erase her legacy. We could shit all the fuck over it if we won. Any of her contemporaries don't like that. That's too fucking bad. So even spit in Harley Race's face. Now they kind of pushed, they kind of put some of the, some of these things together. They kind of put a lot of these clips and didn't really show the dates. I kind of wish they would have done that. The feud of Mick Foley, spitting in his face, kicking him down the stairs. They didn't show the Rumble 04 thing where Foley came back and attacked him, which is pretty good. They didn't show the Mania 20 handicap tag, which was probably smart, but they go to Backlash 04. Could Randy hang with hardcore, the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley? Yes, he could. And it was a hell of a match. I could have done without the thumbtacks, even though it led to a cool visual. I don't think thumbtacks are part of wrestling and should be part of wrestling. Even the Hell in a Cell 98 match didn't fucking need them, but I get why they did them. But then they had the barbed wire board. Barbed wire doesn't belong in wrestling either. But it was a hardcore match, and at least they made the spots mean something. As opposed to now, where they just pulled the shit out for no goddamn reason. So, then, that gets him ready. He loses the Intercontinental title, I believe, to Edge at Vengeance 2004. Gets immediately thrust into a world title picture against renowned wife and child murderer Chris Benoit, who is rotting away in hell and should be forever. Like he's going to get freed from jail and somehow come back, according to what I'm saying. But who did he beat, WWE? They show like one clip, and they don't really show his face. But Randy even talks about how he was ready to be the world champion. Well, I believe Batista might have said. Batista, Mark Henry, others say he was world champion. He was ready to be it in the ring, not outside the ring. And then we see a lot, and I mean a lot of the fans. Some fans were prodding him. Look, some fans are dicks. If you ever go to an indie show, by the way, and you get a chance to meet wrestlers, don't be dicks. Be cool. If they're not looking like they're doing too well, maybe ask them if they're all right, but then move on. Because they're the ones taking bumps. But yeah, Randy was kind of just not... He wasn't treating the fans well at all. I think it was more on Randy, but there were fans that were hounding him, so I could understand him being frustrated. And then we show a clip of the Rumble 05 shoot where he's got the wig and it's like the West Side Story deal. Women are all over him. Hey, will they address him shitting in the bags of some of the women and trolling them and stuff like that and hazing them? Like he was so upset about the hazing that people did in the Marine Corps. Oh, no, none of that? No, none of that. Okay, whatever. He was just immature. He admits that he was on painkillers because of his shoulder injuries and stuff like that. Again, they probably should have addressed the fact he got injured again. And then he blows up a stick of dynamite in a Mexican hotel, apparently, which he's lucky he wasn't fucking arrested. And treated the fans horribly. Was making fun of some fans. He made fun of, like, some Japanese fans' hair. I don't know why. And painkiller addiction. He was getting 120 perks and whatever. And then the Mania 21 stuff with Taker. Now, we're about an hour and 5 to 10 minutes into this by the time we get done with this part. We still got a lot of his career to cover. He got fucked up before the Hall of Fame, delivered a speech for his dad the night before Mania, where he was not necessarily in the best spirits because he was on spirits, and he missed a training session with Taker to basically go over some spots in the match. Taker gave him a pass, but he was pissed off. You could tell he was pissed off. We're still pissed off that Taker caved Canyon's head in because he was gay. You will not convince me otherwise, because we know that Taker's a bit of a bigot. Just a bit. Just a bit. So, Randy was in a dark place. Wasn't doing well. Mania 21 was a hell of a moment for him. But then we skip over the Undertaker feud, even though I think that probably would have been better than some of the shit they ended up displaying, where he was basically just having, great matches throughout 05. He was doing well, even though he was fucked up on pills, and the SummerSlam 05 was his win back. No Mercy 05. Returned by Taker at Survivor Series 05. They failed to note 03, 04, 05, Randy Orton was the sole survivor on the team. On each team that he did. That was a big goddamn deal I think that they should have talked about. I know it's only a 2-hour show, about an hour and 25 minutes or so with commercials, but still. They gave this a 5-minute overrun. I don't know if they're going to do that for the same for every single episode, but whatever. We go into 06, and then they bounce around a bunch. He's got every gift, but, the only ones that can stop him is him, and he's hell-bent on doing that. Triple H says that. Orton didn't see it. We go from 06 to 09, where he does the Kofi thing. Stupid, which, yeah. I mean, it's a funny meme, kinda, but I don't know if Kofi would have been the WWE champion, but Orton, you could tell, just stopped it dead. He had a short fuse. We then go back to this interaction he had with, I think, The Rock in 04, I want to say. I think it was 04. Before Mania 20. They were going back and forth. They really should have told a better timeline here. 2006, he was high wall driving. He accidental OD. They wanted him to go to rehab. He said no. Thankfully, Orton's career is alive and well. And he was mad at himself. He needed anger management. They played into that with other feuds that he had. I like the feud he had with HBK. They skipped over a lot of the stuff with Cena, which is good because I think that feud's still going on in some alternate universe. Teaming with Edge. Edge kind of was like Triple H was to Shawn Michaels in some parts of the 90s, getting him up to his hotel when he was fucked up. And then Santino actually was riding along with him while he was in a car on the beach, and actually he had some pain pills. He had been clean for a bit, and Santino made him throw them away. Okay, Santino, you get 1 bonus point, and you're still a transphobic piece of shit. But Umaga, Test, Lance Cade, they all died young. I think Lance Cade wasn't even 30. Umaga and Test died young, don't get me wrong. But his daughter being born, his first daughter, that changed him. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him. He became a method actor and started getting into his character. And could have done without them reminding us that Josh Matthews was once given a commentary job. That was a real dark day. Real dark day. What Madison Rain sees in him, I don't fucking know. Next week is Sergeant Slaughter, by the way. That should be a very interesting piece. I wonder how much they're going to try to say the Mania 7 deal was because of security reasons, not because we overestimated the interest in our product. Kim Orton has an incredible New York accent. I mean, my God, it is like every New York accent. It's like, we're just gonna whack you, York. I'm sure she's nice, but I'm sorry. It was ridiculous. And they met, they got married in Vegas. Skip over a whole bunch of stuff. We skipped over stuff in 2010, in 2011, in 2012. We go to 2013. We skip over the championship ascension ceremony. I was there for that. That's where Punk was laughing. And then they have Orton, and they have Triple H and Stephanie and Vince, and they're playing No Chance in Hell. Whose theme was that? Oh. But then him and Kim have a kid together. Family is important. He's in a better place, but his back's fucked up. Teaming with Riddle helped extend his career. They had Riddle on here, because they had this thing in the can for a while. And he got surgery. Doesn't know if the surgery is going to work. Obviously, he has come back, and it's, it was a success. He's also juiced to the goddamn gills, but whatever. It's all with doctors, care and supervision. Orton doesn't have much time left. I mean, I think he knows that. And you can see the way he's moving, the fact he's only playing the hits. And I don't blame him. He doesn't need to do much more. He doesn't have a lot left. It's going to be interesting to see if Orton manages to survive to WrestleMania 41. Because I think that's where he's like, I'm done. He doesn't need to do any more. We close with him playing catch with his dad. Finally getting a chance to, catch that ball. Like he talked about when his dad was on the road so much, and he gets to be a father. And you know what? Good for Randy. They could have addressed a lot of the darker shit that he did, but he was just not mentally ready. Let's just go with the clean version. Anyway, Sergeant Slaughter next week. That should be interesting. Roman Reigns, Scott Hall, others. I don't remember who the others are. Are you guys excited for Dark Side of the Ring, by the way? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rethlin. I'll see you soon.